So let's go for a bit of a ride. There's the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos that says Rabbi Elazar HaKapar, possibly the most famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Rabbi Elazar HaKapar Omer. In the Siddur, it's not the same. It's Yud Zayin, and so why isn't it here? Here it is. Rabbi Elazar HaKapar Omer Akina v'Atay v'Kovod Matzina Sada Min Olam. So the Pashup Pshat in the Mishnah, is Akina v'Atay v'Kovod Matzina Sada Min Olam. That literally and physically, these three things can actually remove a person from the world. Akina means a person is jealous. There's a pasuk that says Rekav atzmos kina. Rekav atzmos kina. He's my wife's cousin, so I could say that I was there. Yeah. I don't even need the water just because he's my wife's cousin. I just want to show control. That's it says Rika. Oh, there you go. I didn't say it doesn't feel good. I only said it takes you out of the world. So it says Rekavat was kina. The kina, literally, when a person is jealous, you can literally feel a physical sensation, and it causes the bones to rot. That's what the Rekavat was kina. And a person, as a result of kina, could then do things. For example, a person is jealous of somebody else's success or prosperity, overworks himself, and actually gets himself into a situation where he is physically ill, and then he dies prematurely. Kina, taiva, is any sort of physical pursuit that is unhealthy, whether it's cigarettes or whether it's sugar or any of the anything that can actually and then terminate a person's life prematurely. Kavod is the pursuit of honor. You don't need to look much further than I once made a calculation that since 1960, at a certain point, from 1960 till early in the 2000s, 50% of presidents of the United States had been shot at since 1960. Why are they president? Because of COVID. They're for the COVID. And, maybe some others should have been shot at. I don't know. But the 50% were shot at. One was killed. And there's no other, 50% of dentists aren't shot at. 50% of accountants are not shot at. 50% of the garbage collectors are not shot at. So what is it? It's the cover. They wanted the position of cover. The cover could literally terminate a person's life. The first Beis HaMikdash stood 410 years, and there were 22 Kohanim Gedolim. 18 Kohanim Gedolim. In 410 years, it comes out to an average of about 22.5 years per Kohen Gadol. Second Beis HaMikdash is 420 years. There were over 300 Kohen Gadols. Take off, Shimon HaTzadik was 40 years. Yochanan Kohen Gadol was 80 years. 120 years off of 420 is 300. 300 Kohanim Gedolim for 300 years. Thank you very much. 300, thank you. 300 Kohanim Gedolim for 300 years. Do the math, right? It comes out to one per year. There used to be a vitamin called one a day. Remember that one a day, and one a day prior. And this was one per year. So the Kohen Gadol, according to the Yerushalmi, that says that they actually would tie a rope to him when he would go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, but if they felt a thud at the other end, so they would haul him out, and then put it on the second Kohen Gadol. And how the second guy, I'm not sure what he was thinking. The second guy, okay, you're up, Zalman. No, not me. I'm not feeling so well today. Okay, but so in you go. What's that?
I said that would be 600.
Yeah, right. So they didn't die. They didn't die immediately in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. They didn't live out the year. Now, let's stop and think about this. The first Kohen Gadol, remember they had a run on popes at one point. Right? One pope died, then they had another pope, and he died about a month later, and they brought in the third pope. Okay. Here, I understand. First Kohen Gadol dies. Okay. Second, it happens. Second guy goes in. He doesn't live out the year. Seder. By the time he gets to about number 7 or 8, what was number 9 thinking? Now, let's look at the data. The previous 8 have all died within the year. Not enough for you? What about Kohen Gadol 77? The previous 76 have all died within the year. Still not enough here. What about Kohen Gadol 241? 240 have all died before you. Elamai, the kavod of being the Kohen Gadol was a bought position. They were paying for the position. And the kavod is that it takes a person out of the world. The kavod, the pursuit of the kavod can take a person out of the world, number one. Number two, Hakina v'atayva kavod matzina sa'adam mina olam. The pshat is matzin mina olam means that it takes a person out of the world of reality. That means when a person is jealous of somebody else, you're looking at the other person, I'm looking at the other person, and my thought is for him, it's absolute, what he's got is bliss. It's absolute bliss. And I'm so consumed with the jealousy, the other guy's not even thinking about it anymore. This guy's driving on a Lamborghini, and I'm jealous of his Lamborghini. I'd like a Lamborghini, by the way. I like, my birthday is August 7th, by the way. I'd like a Lamborghini. And I'm looking at this guy and his Lamborghini, and this guy doesn't even think about it anymore because he's thinking about what the next toy is going to be. So it takes a person out of the world of Akina Taiva. Taiva takes a person out of the world of reality. Anybody who knows that on Motzei Yom Kippur, right as you get to Ne'ilah, right, and it's starting to really kick in. And you're probably holier than I am, but I'd be lying if I'm not thinking about exactly what the ice cream sundae or how many slices of pizza it's going to be after. I still haven't gotten, then you get there, and a Motzei Yom Kippur, what does it take? You have half a slice of pizza, and I'm basically done. The problem is I've got a reputation to keep. I can't tell people that's all I had on Motzei Yom Kippur. What I'm going to tell them. So it's got to be four that are wedged together. And it's not going to be you got to keep it. But there's even an expression: "I'm so hungry I could eat a horse." No, you can't. No. You can maybe a little kosher chicken, right? And even that, you can't, because it removes us from the world of reality, and the kavod especially. The kavod takes a person thinks, when I have that kavod, that's going to be the ultimate. So, gentlemen, I don't know if I'm sure you know of Ehud Olmert. Ehud Olmert was the Prime Minister of Israel, then went to jail. Very similar to Illinois governors. And Ehud Olmert, at one point there were 3 Illinois governors in prison at one time, right? You haven't gotten Philadelphia, have you? No, they haven't got. See, we're ahead of you on that one at least. So Olmert spoke here in Somayach years ago. They let him in. They let him in. He was actually invited in because at the time he had defeated Teddy Kollek to become mayor of Yerushalayim. Teddy Kollek was anti anything decent. He was anti, and it was actually do you remember David Dinkins in New York? Now David Dinkins lost to somebody. Who did he lose to? To Giuliani. So they had a cartoon. They had a cartoon of Dinkins and Olmert together. That they both got thrown out of office together. Kollek. A cartoon. I just remember a cartoon that they had that the blackies threw us out of office, right? Because by here was the Frum that threw what's his name out of office. And so Olmert came here, and it was not expected that he was going to win. He came to our Somayach. He was actually a very good speaker. He was entertaining. He had a question and answer session. And I was watching this guy, and you could see that he had only been in for a couple of months, and he was still high from the idea that he is. And I remember because he started the talk by saying, "I am the mayor of Jerusalem." Like, oh, okay, yeah, that we knew, that's why we invited you. And I just remember, and he was so proud, and so it was going well, and the guys were asking questions. The last question, somebody said to him something about why doesn't Israel do something on the Golan Heights? I don't remember what it was. And his last answer, the last thing he said was, listen, I may or may not agree with the policy, but there's nothing I can do about it because I'm not the prime minister yet. And that's why, okay, now we see where all this is going. That you have the kavod of being the mayor. What's his name in Chicago? The governor, who was, what was his name? The last one who went to jail. The one who had Obama's, he was the governor. Goyevich, yeah, Goyevich. So it's a Goyevich who was totally, utterly out of control. And they had him on record. When Obama was elected, so the position of senator was going to be filled by him because he was the governor. He gets selected, and they had him on record as saying to somebody, "This one's too good to just give away," meaning following the rich Chicago tradition, it was going to be sold. But they also had him on record as saying to somebody, how long do you think I want to be stuck in this job? Now, gentlemen, I want to tell you something. There are only 50 governors across the country. They live in a mansion. And they basically, the state, they're more powerful in a state than the president is in the country. There aren't that many jobs like that, and this guy felt he's stuck in that job. So a guy stuck in a job, that means that when he got the job originally, he thought this was it, because this was the covet. But the world of reality, he's taken out of the world of reality till when you get there, because then you find out that it's the next stage. Number two. Number three, and this is the point that I want to get to and develop this a little bit. Hakina v'atayva kod mansinas adam mina olam, the Mefarshim say, is referring to Adam Harishon. That in the Chet of Adam Harishon, you had all three of these factors. By the way, every misdeed that a person does is going to have one or more of these factors in it. Every Avera is going to involve either Kina or Taiva or Kavod or a combination of the above. Every Avera, anything you can think of, is going to involve Kina, Taiva, and Kavod. In the Chet of Adam Harishon, you had all three. The Kina, Rashi says openly that she ate the fruit, and after she ate the fruit, she was worried she would die and he would live. So she actually had him eat the fruit as well. Oh, Adam, I got to dinner time. Wait, what's she worried about? Shematamus v'yisa acheres. So the pshat is, if somebody went to ask me, well, where would he get another wife? Yeah, plenty of ribs. Plenty of ribs where they came from. There's plenty more. But the pshat isn't that. It's not kina at our level. Kina means, what she really was thinking was that if she could get him to be chayiv misa also, then neither of them will die. Because Hashem's not going to, where's the world going to be from? If they both die, so it's not going to be a world. But the Pashup Pshat, Rashi says, it seems like there was kina. Taiva, it says openly, kitava hula inayim, that the fruit was very desirous. And kavod was the way the Nachash tempted. Is it possible to make it colder in here, by the way? Is there any way to make it colder? Does anybody know? Can we make it colder? Notice I said we, and I had absolutely no intention to get up. That's only for marriage. Everybody knows that. When your wife says to you, we need to call the washing machine guy. Yeah, we. Yeah, me or you, huh? Yeah. So the temptation when the Nachash comes to Chava, what does the Nachash say? Oh, that's good. Oh, made it colder? Yes. Oh, excellent. And the door probably closed. Okay, thank you. The what do you call it? The kavod is that the Nachash said, if you eat the fruit, v'yisem kelokim yodei tovara, you'll be like God. What does that mean? You'll be like God. That means you'll be in control. Control is a result of kavod. So all three factors, kina, taiva, and kavod, motziin es ha'adam, that's what took Adam Harishon out of the world. Now, when Adam Harishon does the Avera, in Pirkei Avos, you have kina, taiva, kavod. Everything, there's got to be a counterbalance. Mankind, at that point, was given a task. After Adam Harishon commits the original Avera, mankind's given a task, which is that they have to rectify the Avera of Adam Harishon. Now they have to rectify it. So mankind has three chances. Kina, they mess up. Where's the Kina? Cain and Hevel. Cain kills Hevel as a result of Kina. His name is Cain. Cain comes from the word Kinyan. Kinyan is acquisition, which is what people are generally jealous of. Cain kills Hevel. That's Kina. Strike one. The next chance is Taiva. Dora Mabul. They're completely out of control in the area of Taiva. Strike two. Opportunity number three, kavod, which is Dora Floga Nase Lanu Shem. We'll make a name for ourselves. Kavod. Strike three. Mankind loses out. Excuse me 1 second. Mankind has now failed in the task of bringing a tikkun to the Chet of Adam Harishon. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes that assignment and he gives it to one group of people. And who are those people? Obviously, Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael is Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. What do Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov represent? Torah, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, that says, Al Shloshah Dvarim Ha'olam Omeid. Olam is a Adam. Every human being is considered a world in and to himself. The world stands on three things. Torah, Avoda, and Gemilus Chasadim. Each one of them, which rectifies one of those. Torah is the opposite of Taiva. Barasa Yetzer Hara, Barasa Torah Tavlin. Torah is the only way for a person to live with self-control. Avoda is submission, which is the opposite of kavod. And Gemilus Chasadim is the opposite of jealousy. Kina is resentment for other people. And Gemilus Chasadim is, so you have from Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, you now have the entire assignment has been taken away and it's been put in among the Jewish people. Where is that supposed to lead us to? Where is that supposed to lead us to? It's lead us to the ultimate tikkun, which is obviously Mashiach. It's supposed to bring us all the way to the ultimate tikkun. Okay, so that's where everything we're involved with in the course of a day is supposed to be, everything we do is supposed to fit into one of those categories of Torah, Avodah, or Gemilus Chasadim. If a person needs to play tennis because they need to relax, they need the exercise, it's a form of Avodah. If a person goes to sleep with das, that they're sleeping for the next 5, 6, 7 hours, or 16 hours for Yeshiva Bachrim, whatever the case is, that as a way of serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so that becomes a form of Torah, Avodah, Gemilus Chasadim. Okay, that brings us to the next issue. And the next issue is a big question I'm sure all of you had. The Mishnah says that in Perek Hey, it says like this, 2 Mishnahs. Kol ava sheitluya bedavar batal davar betela ava. If there's a love that is dependent on an external factor, if the factor is removed, then the love is going to dissipate. So if a guy loves a woman for her money, somebody once said if you marry a girl for her bank account, you will soon lose interest. So if the love is dependent on an external factor, the love is going to dissipate. If it's not dependent, if it's a more spiritual pursuit, so then the love is going to endure. Okay, 1 second. The case of Amnon and Tamar, Amnon has a sister, half-sister he's infatuated with, and Amnon theoretically could marry her, and instead he violates her. And that's called an ava, and then the Nach says that after he violated her, he hated her even more than he ever loved her. Okay, number 1. Anybody got a problem with that Mishnah? Anybody got a problem with that Mishnah? Pretty obvious problem. Should be an obvious problem with that Mishnah. You should have an obvious question. Not so obvious, huh? I guess when my 6-year-old daughter asked me, I guess it wasn't as obvious as I thought. What do you call it? That was for Rabbi Rothenberg over there, just to make sure. This is all one-on-one, by the way. This has got, this is where we're out of control over here. You haven't got it, huh? What's the problem with the Mishnah? The problem with the Mishnah is that Chazal don't tell us the obvious. Anybody who knows anything in Nach, and I would say to you, hey, give me an example of an ava atluya bedover. Give me an example of an infatuation. What would you say? If you had learned Nach, what would we say? Amnon and Tamar. Dovid and Bathsheba wasn't. Dovid and Bathsheba was much much higher level. Chazal say that Dovid and Bathsheba were predestined from Sheshas Yemei Bereishis. That Dovid jumped the gun a little bit. The way Chazal put it is he took the grapes before they were fully ripened. But she was predestined for preordained Dovid and Melchit. We'll see, because we're going to come to Dovid and Bathsheba. Somebody would ask me, what's an obvious case of infatuation? I would say Amnon and Tamar. That's an ava atluya b'davar. Why does it need a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos to tell me that? Let me say if they tell me what's an ava atluya. If you just learned the Nach, so you know that without Pirkei Avos. 1 second. Let's go to the next Mishnah. The next Mishnah is the Komach Lokas Shi L'Shem Shemayim Sofa L'Yiskayim. V'Sheina Shem L'Shem Shemayim Ain't Sofa L'Yiskayim. I've a dispute L'Shem Shemayim, not L'Shem Shemayim. So again, Ezli Machlokas Shi L'Shem Shemayim Zomachas Hil V'Shamay. V'Sheina L'Shem Shemayim Zomachlokas Korach V'Chol Adosa. Understand? If somebody would ask you, give me an example of a machlokas that's not l'shem shemayim. What would you say? I would say Korach and Moshe is a different question. Why does the Mishnah say Korach and his people and not Korach and Moshe? What's the answer to that? It said Hillel and Shammai. So why didn't it say Korach and Moshe? It wasn't Korach and his people. The answer is Moshe was l'shem shemayim. We're trying to pick the people who are not l'shem shemayim. Not only that, the Meforshim say that Korach and his people probably had fighting also. I'll be number 2 on the list. No, I'll be number 3. I'm foreign minister. There's probably some infighting there also between Korach and his people. So why does the Mishnah, two Mishnahs over here, Both of which would seem redundant. What do we need? What I need a Mishnah to tell me that's a machlokas shalol l'shem shamayim? Gee, really? All you got to do is keep up with Parshas Shavua and you can know what the machlokas l'shem shamayim is? No? Two questions. Okay, so let's answer the second question first. What did Korach come to Moshe Rabbeinu with? Talis shekulo tcheles. Got a talis, it's all tcheles, with a tzitza, what do you call it? A mezuzah, a bayis malei sfarim. What do you need a mezuzah for? You got a bayis malei sfarim. So gentlemen, I want to tell you what the answer is. There's a Rashi in the Parsha. Rashi says, in Posuk Vav, Rashi says, Moshe says to Korach and his people, Kichulachem machtos. Take fire pans. Take a look at Rashi. Rashi goes through a whole explanation what the fire pans are. And then Rashi says two words. Rashi gives us at the end of Rashi, he says a machta. He says, Kli shechosim bo gecholim. It's a kli that you, v'yeshlo beis yad. It has a handle. Thank you. Rashi is giving us a lesson in housewares, right? A fire pan has a handle. Well, I certainly hope so. Try holding a fire pan with boiling hot coals, a metal fire pan that without hand, what are you holding on the metal itself? Then you got bigger problems. So question number one. Question number two, why is Rashi even telling me this now? We had machtos in the Torah in Parshas Truma. We had machtos by Nodav and Avihu. Was it?
He asked me that question yesterday.
But that question, why Rashi says it here? You're a Kohen, aren't you? Raburi, you're a Kohen? Yeah, see, that's okay. That's anybody else a Kohen here?
Parshas Truma, Rashi is not very.
Listen, guys, this is my turf. When it comes to Truma, just what do you got? Do your own work over here.
I'm a Bechor.
You're a Bechor. You've been set aside. What do you call it? So, did you ask that question? Why Rashi says it?
But Rashi talks about Amata 4 different times.
And so why here does he?
And every time
says something different. And over here he tells you it's got a handle. What's the answer? The answer is, and this is why the Mishnah here goes, when Korach comes to Moshe Rabbeinu, Talis shekulot, ooh, this guy's from. Talis shekulot cheles. What do you call it? Bayis malei sfarim. Wow, this guy is from. This guy is so from he could say he throws stones at cars on Tuesdays. I mean, this guy is really he's really from this guy. And not only that, you know how from he is? I am so from. You know how from he is? Mrs. On Ben Peles, what did she do to protect her husband? She let her hair down. Rapunzel, she lets her hair down. So I had a question. Why'd she let her hair down? Why'd she? To scare people away. Okay, she could have pulled an elbow up, a sleeve up. Hey guys, pull a sleeve and it would have turned away. No. The Gemara in Yuma says there was a woman named Kimchis. And Kimchis had 7 sons who were Kohen and Gedolim. And they asked her, what did you do to have bear 7 sons who are Kohen Gadols? She said, the walls of my house never saw the braids of my hair. Ah, you want to be Kohen Gadol? The green kryptonite for a Kohen Gadol is hair. So Korach, what does he want? He wants to be the Kohen Gadol. What does she understand? She understands there's one way to get this guy away real quick. Go stand out there and let down your hair. Kol ha'ida kulam kedoshim. They're all holy people. He's a holy. Oh, hair. Look, that's the fastest way. Elbow. No, nishkeferlach. Hair. That gets in there. Kimchis didn't let the walls see the hair. That's why she merited coins. So they understand there's some sort of connection or inverse connection between hair and a Kohen Gadol. Why does Rashi say it's got a handle? Because that's what Korach came to it with. Why do you need one string to stand out if the whole garment is blue? Why do you need one mezuzah to stand out if there's svarim in the whole house? What's he really saying? Why does one have to ever stand out? What do we need a leader for? What do we need a leader for? Why should one ever stand out? Why does one have to be the Hebrew bolet? He has to stand out. What does Moshe answer him? Take an example from a even a fire pan has a handle that stands out. Everything in life has a handle. There's always got to be a leader. There's always got to be somebody who's a leader. Which, by the way, is why, and later on, this is just parenthetically, when Korach says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I'll tell you a frightening Chassam Sofer. Moshe Rabbeinu says, if these people die a regular death, I think Rabbeinu Machai says, if they have a heart attack on the spot or then Hashem didn't send me. And if the earth opens up and swallows them up, then I'm right. I mean, if you're Korach at that moment, if you're Korach, what are you thinking at that moment? Well, gee, what's that?
What are the odds?
What are the odds? I mean, I got trouble either way here. I had a student here once at Somayach. He told me his brother was then walking through a public school, in the halls of a public high school. The two big black guys stopped him in the hallway, and one of them threw a quarter down on the floor. He said to him, "Pick up the quarter, I'm going to beat the tar out of you." The other one says to him, "If you pick up the quarter, I'm going to beat the tar out of you." Right? Neither choice is great. What do you do then?
At least you have 25 cents.
You have 25 cents to pay for your injuries. Yeah, you pay for the doctor. Not a good choice. What would you do? It's good. So this guy was a tough guy. So I imagine his brother was a tough guy. What he did, I would have done that. I would have gotten on my knees and cried and pleaded. But what this guy did is he started bending down and he just came up punching. So he got in a couple of shots. They beat him up, but never started with him again because they saw that he could take it. They had some respect for him. But Korach, sometimes in life the choices are not good. Listen, let's say that Moshe is saying to Korach, if I'm wrong, if they drop dead of a heart attack, then I was wrong. My bad. I'm sorry. Well, where does that leave them? And if I'm right, so then the earth will open up and swallow them up. Now, if I was Korach at that point, Korach's no fool. I'll say Korach. He saw Moshe Rabbeinu with 10 makos and the splitting of the sea and going up on Har Sinai. He knows the truth. I mean, if I was Korach at that moment, I would have just said, Moshe, maybe we could talk this over. I think I might have made a goofed over here. So, in a bigger question, I mean, if they're right, why should they die? If they're right, why should they die? Chassam Sofer says they're already wrong. They're already chayiv misa. Why? What did you start a rebellion for? What did you make trouble? What did you start a rebellion for? What, you got an issue? You got a problem? Go talk to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe, can I speak to you a second? We got a little issue over here with the job distribution. So what did you start trouble for? Comes along, tells you, you know what? Don't make a mistake and think that any of this was l'shem shemayim. Korach has every argument here. Why is that? Kolei kulam kedoshim and tzitzis and Phil. So Pirkei Avos is telling you, don't have a havamina, because if you read the story, you might think, hey, you know what? This is l'shem shemayim. Pirkei Avos needs to tell you it's not. What about Amnon and Tamar? So listen to this. This is remarkable. Amnon, a really, really phenomenal idea. It's not my idea. I think I heard this b'shem years ago. B'shem, the Rav in Baltimore, Rabbi Moshe, Talmud of Rabbi Cutler. I forgot his name. He says like this. Not Rabbi Heinemann.
Howard?
No. Years ago. Amnon is the crown prince of Dovid HaMelech. Now, let's take a look for a second where Mashiach comes from. It's a very strange idea. The Alshich brings this down, others bring it down. Take a look where Mashiach comes from. The Messianic line comes from two places. It comes from Yehuda, and it comes from Shevet Yehuda, and it comes from Moav. Now let's take a look at where these lines start. Moav begins with Lot and his daughters in a cave, right? Kind of dodgy, the whole thing. Lot and his daughters, and yet Chazal say that they did a Aveira Lishma. Okay, were they allowed to do it? With hindsight, were they allowed to do it? Yes, but it certainly doesn't look good. And even the one who named him Moav, she's taken the task for, you could have been a little bit more discreet. That's Papa's boy. You could have been a little more discreet about it. You don't have to go and announce it, even though it was okay to do it. And that's where it begins, with Lot in the cave. Then we get Lot in the cave. And not only that, Chazal asks, they got him drunk. Where'd they get the wine from? You ran into a cave? So there are two opinions. One is that it was the lucky cave. You ran in and there was some wine in the cave. Don't you love when that happens? You run into the cave and there's some Jack Daniels. Right, it's just sitting there right in the cave for you. My lucky day.
They used to do that all the time.
What's that?
In Sodom, they used to leave their wine in
They would leave the wine in the cave. That's why they found a wine with a cave with wine in it. Very good. That's one. There's another bit. Or what happened? They grabbed the wine as the city's getting destroyed. Grab the booze and let's go. They happen to grab a bottle of wine on their way out. I remember my 8th grade teacher asking us, if your house was on fire, what would you save? What would you take? That to me was Dover Pasha. I was in 8th grade. There's no brainer. It's not a baseball glove. What else would you grab? But she said, the family pictures. The family pictures. Okay. So how did the wine get there? So the opinion in Chazal that the wine got there al pi derech nes, which means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was aiding and abetting this whole event. What happens on Yehuda's side? Yehuda meets Tamar, and she's dressed like she's behaving like a harlot. All right, the Malach pushed him. Because I'll say Yehuda wasn't roy for that kind of behavior. The Malach pushed him, which I always tell the guys in the yeshiva, don't pull that excuse, guys. Don't tell me it was the Malach. Yeah, because there's also a Malach Hamavis. So don't tell me there's a Malach. So the Malach pushed him. And the whole thing looks a little bit, what do you call it? The whole thing looks a little bit dodgy. And then where does that line meet? So this started in a cave. This started with someone pretending to be a harlot. And then what happens? Then you go down the line, and then you have Boaz and Rus. Now, imagine we were there. Let me, she is allowed, she's not allowed, Moav, a male Moav, a female Moav. Yes, she's part. She is allowed and she's not allowed in. What's it? So there's a raging debate in the Sanhedrin. And Boaz convinces them. And he marries her. And the next morning he dies. Now, I want to ask you something. Imagine 2 guys are sitting at a table and there's a piece of meat. I don't think that's a great hechsher. No, the hechsher is fine. No, it's not fine. That's fine. And he convinces him. The guy convinces him the hechsher is fine. Takes one bite of the meat and he chokes. Even the least cynical among us would go, guess not. Guess not. Better luck next time. So what happened over here? Boaz, what happened?
You're also forgetting what happened on the threshing floor, too.
Well, one second, we haven't gotten there yet. First, I could marry, can't marry. Could marry, can't marry. Could marry, can't marry. You can marry her. Okay, next morning he's dead. And how did he meet her? Right. She comes down there, and all of a sudden he wakes up in the middle of the night, there's a woman there. The whole thing, how did he even notice her? How did Boaz, Chazal say he was out there, she's bending down, very dainty. Chazal said, what, Boaz looks at the women? Chazal said, well, she was eye-catchingly tznius. Think about that. Think about that as an irony, as a paradox. It's like a girl walking across the campus of University of Arizona in a dress in summer. So you say, so Boaz marries her, and the next morning she dies. And then what happens? Then Oved, Yishai, Dovid, and then Dovid marries Bathsheba, and that's already dodgy. Well, if he gave a get, al t'nai, but sending off husbands to get killed at war is generally frowned upon. And yet he marries her. Why is all this happening? Why is it that in the Messianic line, every relationship everywhere you touch it, and there's something, it just, it's not what you wouldn't make that kind of shidduch, right? So what happened over here? So the Alshich says the Yesod is brought down in other places. The Alshich says that the neshama of Mashiach is so lofty that the kochos hara, the chitzonim, the forces of evil, the Death Eaters, they have a vested interest in stopping that neshama from developing. And there's only one way to get the neshama past them. It's by camouflaging it in these very, very questionable, all these relationships, b'di'evet, and after the fact it was okay. But when they look at the relationship, what could possibly come out of a cave with a man and his daughters? And how good could the neshama be if it's a guy and a harlot? And how good could it be if they're down at the threshing floor and she's got a paskin b'di'evet moav? So the entire neshama of Mashiach is hidden. Oh, who's Amnon? Amnon is the crown prince of Dovid HaMelech. He's the oldest son. And as the oldest son, so he's going to be the one who's going to be in line to bring Mashiach. So what happens? He sees, what's her name? Tamar. But he can't just marry her outright because we've got to do something to hide it. So what does he do?
Timna, right?
Amnon and Tamar. Amnon and Tamar. Timna's a sister. Timna married Asa. Married, what do you call it? Amnon and Tamar. So Amnon, but you can't just marry her outright because we're trying to bring Mashiach. So it's got to be some sort of dodgy relationship. So what does he do? He's going to violate her instead. Oh, So now you have a Hava Mina that what he did was L'Shem Shemayim, because he's only trying to bring Mashiach. Tells you the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos that had nothing to do with L'Shem Shemayim. That it's an Ava Atluya B'Davar. He was trying to get into the Messianic line, and you think that, yes, it was all L'Shem Shemayim, because that's how you see Mashiach is always brought. No. Comes along the Mishnah Pirkei Avos, says, no, don't make that mistake. This was purely infatuation, and that's why it says in the Nach that afterwards he hated her even more than he was ever. Why? Because as soon as he's finished with her, he realizes he's just taken himself out of the running for Mashiach. Because he understands afterwards what his motivation. He may have deceived himself and convinced himself, like Korach, that his motivation is L'Shem Shemayim. But once he finishes what he's doing, then he realizes, you know what? It wasn't. It was all infatuation. None of it had to do with anything L'Shem Shemayim. Therefore, he hates her even more because she becomes the agent that takes him completely out of the running of Mashiach. And therefore, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos has to tell us that that is an infatuation. It's not an L'Shem Shemayim. All right.